You ready to go for a ride? You ready to go for a ride? Okay, let's go. You out of here. Okay, go. Good boy. Highway robbery, I call it. How much money we gotta pour into our vehicles, driving up and down this road every day or every other day, depending on your lifestyle. You got a slobber problem there, buddy. Hey everybody out there, this is Nightwatch N8. How's life treating you? To me, I can't complain. I guess I could complain about YouTube. That's not life, right? Lately, I mean, this is just a chit-chat video. If you don't like chit-chat, then you can just probably click off right now. But if you just want to touch base and see where I'm at, maybe compare to where you're at, stay tuned. My hat's crooked, I know that. It's kind of fitting, right? My personality's a little topsy-turvy too sometimes. But the last few videos have just been a grind on this platform, YouTube. And I mean, if it's not obvious by now, I don't know what it takes to be obvious, but they don't want anybody finding my videos. So this little chat today, I guess, is just for the regulars, right? The ones that regularly stop on by and have a drink, whatever. Talk about the weather, I don't know. But yeah, it's like one of those seek and ye shall find things, I guess. The people that really dig my content, want to see what my latest info is, or I don't know, just kind of a little parody that I put out now and then, just for shits and giggles. Yeah, my head is crooked, isn't it? It's kind of bugging me. Okay, there we go, a little better. This is actually an Australian hat. I just realized that the other day. It's not as some may assume, a Mexican, sharecropper hat. It's actually from Australia, and I'm not even sure where I got it, so it's kind of a mystery to me too. But it's been pretty handy. It's nice and breathable. You can see it's full of holes. And man, when the weather starts getting hot, there's a reason why everybody down south, Texas, southern states, Mexico, it's the reason why they all wear these kind of hats. It's because they're pretty dang, I mean, especially if you don't have even they kind of substitute for sunglasses. They keep the sun out of your eyes. Yeah, I'm just stumbling on this awareness just now in life. It took me till midlife, I guess, to realize why a cowboy hat is so not just a fashion piece. I'm not about fashion. It's actually pretty practical piece of equipment, especially if you're out in the ranch, on the plains somewhere, riding around on horses all day without any shade, any shelter. Yeah, I got my neck pretty much, I guess I'm the typical redneck now. My neck all red the other day because I was painting painted a shed, painted the chicken coop, trying to make everything look a little nicer around the property, not so rainbowy mishmash. Everything was painted different colors, and just trying to make things look a little more civilized, right? Tidy. I keep things tidy. Yeah, I don't know what I'm really talking about today. Yeah, let me think about it, okay? Give me a second. Okay, I gathered my thoughts. I guess the main thing that's really kind of bouncing around in my brain lately is, within the left-right political paradigm, dialectic, right? We're constantly playing the dialectic, the battle of two opposing sides, crashing and bashing up against each other until, we all call for a solution, right? We all demand the government's got to do something about this problem, right? So problem, reaction, solution, it's usually the ones who created the problem who have the solution. Case in point, perfect example, the Patriot Act. A document that was put together probably years in advance ahead of 9/11. And in fact, I believe it was none other than the petrified dinosaur swamp critter himself, Joe Biden, who took full credit for the first time that they tried to pass the Patriot Act back in the 90s, I believe, after the Oklahoma City bombings. So that's another perfect demonstration of why it doesn't really matter which party you have in power, Biden or Bush, in the case of the final passing of the Patriot Act. We all still get screwed by this all-devouring, all-consuming, all-centralized, all-powerful government, right? Who every step that it takes further crushes any civil liberties that we have left, as well as destroys any prosperity that we have left as a nation. But it had to be rushed and rammed through, right? The legal process ASAP, right? Right around the following days after 9/11, where tensions were high, where fear was high, where you better damn well do what's right for the country, right? Talk about peer pressure, right, on a lot of these Congress critters. Some of them, they don't require pressure because they're already bought and paid for, most oftentimes by the military-industrial complex, right? And yet we have so many on the right today who are so excited about voting for the same insanity and expecting different results. This time it's going to be different, right, guys? This time, after this next 4 years, America is going to be truly great again. Call me a skeptic, call me a cynic. I've just seen too many bullshit in the past to believe a word that comes out of Washington. But, perfect case in point, 9/11, the Patriot Act being passed. Always ask yourself whenever there's a crisis, what will be the next quote-unquote solution, right? And, where are they leading us next, right? Like sheep, like cattle, poking and prodding in this direction or that. You might want to look ahead of you and not just stare at the butt in front of you, right? You might want to just see what lies up the road ahead. What's that noise? What's that? Oh, that's a slaughterhouse. Okay. It's a smell of blood. So yeah, we see with the left-right paradigm, it's pretty obvious by now to anybody paying attention that there's this major shift, right, towards religion, towards Christianity in particular, within politics, right? We even have guys like Russell Brand supposedly converting to, in my opinion, it's probably Catholicism because his wife is Catholic, and he's praying to the rosary and all these, keeping Lent, all these different things. So again, it's a Catholic version of Christianity, just like we have from Steve Bannon. That guy is quite a character, by the way. If you do any research into this history of the Steve Bannon guy, of course, he used to be a member of the Trump administration, had kind of a falling out. This guy's literally a Georgetown Jesuit grad, even a Goldman Sachs exec. And now, of course, he's, like another little mini-me of Alex Jones, another one of these little thought leaders. But he's also a practicing Catholic, and you can see this just from a cursory look at his backdrop during his little podcast there. All these little Catholic items, proudly displayed. And of course, we have guys like Jack Poser, I call him, Jack Prosobic, who's former Navy intelligence. He's also a practicing Catholic. And, Matt Walsh, of course, Catholic. Daily Wire, Noles his last name. Another Catholic. And we have, of course, now Candace Owens, the darling of the right, converted to Catholicism. So you have this in all of these different, thought leaders in conservative circles. In my opinion, you have this kind of a revisionist reinterpretation of what it means to be Americana, right? America was founded by Protestants, right? Protestant Christians as a mostly Protestant nation. And there's a reason why we have the First Amendment, separation of church and state. Yes, it does entail what is implied by that statement. It may not say it in those exact words, but it means that you should never try, like famous quote from possibly the greatest statesman in modern history, Ron Paul, you can't legislate morality, right? And so we have the First Amendment for a reason. We have freedom of conscience in this country, not just freedom of speech, but all these freedoms are Protestant concepts, right? If it were founded as a Catholic nation, we would have never had these concepts, okay? Because if you look at true Catholicism, I know a lot of it's been watered down in this modern day and age, and most people don't even know what they believe. They don't even know the doctrines to which their church holds, right? They no longer hold to those doctrines, albeit, Rome never changes by her own admission. She can't change, right? Because if she is the one true church, the one true representative, the very seat of Satan, in my opinion, but they call themselves the seat of Peter, right? Based upon one verse they misinterpret. Who's the rock again? Peter? Wait, I thought Jesus was the rock. The head cornerstone, the stone that the builders refused. To quote a Bob Marley song. Yes, the stone that eventually crushes in the vision of Daniel. A stone that's not hewn by human hands. It's a heavenly stone. The rock comes down to smash the image in Daniel, which is representative of all the kingdoms of the world, including Babylon, including the new revived Roman Empire, which apparently we're seeing take shape right in front of our eyes, aren't we? G7, anybody catch that? The G7. The Pope was the first religious leader to ever be invited to the G7. What does that tell you, folks? Like I tweeted out, all these world leaders, all of these CEOs of these multinational corporations, all of these celebrities, like the comedians recently that met with the Pope, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, Chris Rock, Whoopi Goldberg, all these world leaders, the G7, the UN, they don't all get together to meet with the world's head rabbi, right? I don't even know who that is. I mean, I tried looking it up, and there's several different top rabbis. I guess there's one guy that's the most powerful, quote unquote, but I've never even heard of his name. And that's how popular this guy is, right? Because the Jews run the world, right, guys? Yeah, all of these world leaders, all these celebrities, these CEOs, they don't show up to meet in private with the top rabbi of the world. They all meet with the Pope in Rome. All roads still lead to Rome, guys. And there's a reason why the Pope demands an audience with, the top nation leaders of the world at the G7. There's a reason why they all show him reverence. Because the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, it's the oldest lasting man-made institution on earth, dating back to at least 313 AD, if not older than that. They claim to be the successor of the Roman Empire, by the way. Yeah, there's a reason why. Because she is the harlot in Revelation. She is the whore of Babylon. And it says in Revelation 18, it talks about how she made all the kings of the earth drunk off the wine of the wrath of fornication. She gets in bed with all of the kings, all of the leaders, elected or non-elected. She gets in bed with them all because they all share the same lust for power, don't they? And so when you start talking about the solution from these, I don't know, I guess we'll call them Christian nationalists, even though it makes me sound like a lefty to use that phrase, because this is how the dialectic works. If you're against religion and politics now, you must be a lefty. You must be a godless, Satan-worshipping, LGBTQ flag waving, leftist lunatic. If you're not for getting back to God, getting the, was it Boebert's discussing lately? I think it was on Steve Bannon. I just caught that clip on X. Getting the 10 Commandments back in the schools.
We need morals back in our nation, back in our schools. And if there's anything that we are going to present in front of our children, it's going to be, it should be the Word of God, because this is the one truth that is never going to change and never going to leave them. It's not some woke fad of the day that you can get canceled for believing in 10 years from now. So I don't think that it's bad to have something that says honor your father and mother so that you will live a long life. That is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. I don't think that it's bad to teach children that adultery is something that you should not do. And also listed in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. And maybe the left and some of these politicians are having a meltdown over having that right there listed in our classrooms, thou shalt not steal, is because government hates competition. And they don't want our children to realize that that's something you shouldn't be doing.
And I'm sure in early America, that was just common practice, right? To have the 10 Commandments in the classroom. But where does it end? Obviously, we don't want this sex ed, transvestite story hour for kids. Obviously, we don't want that kind of indoctrination. But we also don't look to states. We don't look to local. We don't look to federal government to legislate morality, to solve all of our problems. If we listen carefully, let's say, to the Sermon on the Mount from Jesus, I've always thought of that sermon as kind of libertarian, if you think about it, because it's all about self-governance. It's all about, what your inner thoughts, what actions later your inner thoughts may lead to, and how just the thought of it is the seed of sin that you will later commit if you continue to indulge in that thought. If you look on your neighbor's wife and you think, yeah, I'd really like to get with her, right? That's sin. And so that's self-governance. That's where self-governance comes in. And if people were truly self-governed, and when I say that, I mean also, of course, governed by God, right? The King of Kings in the heavenly, right? There are no kings other than King Jesus if you're a Christian. And we don't look to another theocracy, right, for our solution. We don't look to government as the dispensers of grace. Nothing good. Government never succeeded in making any men better men. More government never is the answer. And that's what a lot of these people are calling for. They're calling for, let's get this nation back to God. Let's get this nation back to being a Christian nation. Well, how are you going to do that? Through legislation? What sort of legislation? Have we learned nothing from the Dark Ages? When the Roman power was in power. A lot of people, unfortunately, they've completely forgotten their history. And there's a good reason for that, because of all these higher education, like Steve Bannon went to Georgetown University for his indoctrination. There's a reason why even Trump and Fauci were educated at Jesuit colleges, right? Like Trump said, they have the finest colleges. If you know anything about the Jesuits, if you know anything about the Protestant Reformation and the role of the Jesuits, which was to counter all the teachings of the Protestant Reformation, which, by the way, were key ingredients in the formation of this country. You couldn't have had America the lamb-like beast, right? Christ-like beast in Revelation. It talks about. You couldn't have had America without Protestant values, without those early Protestant Christians settling for nothing less. Anyway, just something to think about. I'm at the water fill station. I should probably wrap it up anyway. I always draw too long, and maybe that turns some people off. I don't know. Anyway, today's just a chit-chat. Something to think about. You always got to look out for not the enemy that you know, but the enemy that you don't know. And in the Bible, it discusses wolves in sheep's clothing, right, as a very real, serious threat. False prophets, and they are aplenty in this day and age. And we've been warned. Jesus said one of the key signs of the end times will be that, he repeats time and time again, do not be received. There'll be many false Christs. There'll be many false prophets that come after me. And the only way to stay true is to the law and the testimony. If you do not stick to the law and the testimony, then there's no light in them, it says, right? So read your Bibles. Stay in the Word. Remember our history. And don't be misled by all these turncoat Catholic revisionist thought leader bobbleheads out there that are trying to tell you that the one thing that's going to save America is to get back to God. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean teaching it at home. That doesn't mean raising your kids right? Teaching your kids at home the Ten Commandments. That means we need to get the government to force educate our children. And then what next? What does the government force next in this never-ending quest to legislate morality? Now, the prime example in the Bible was the Pharisees. Were they very good at practicing what they preached? Again, has anything ever morally good come out of this sick satanic swamp in DC? No, and it never will. Anyway, something to think about. God bless everybody. Thanks again for watching this Nightwatch N8. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't yet, and you can buy me a coffee. Otherwise, no big deal. Appreciate everybody out there. I'm still out here. Been busy, as you can tell. Like I said, I'm a redneck now. Looks like I need more of a tan, but it'll come. It'll come with time. A lot of projects I'm working on, a lot of things keeping me busy, but I'm still trying to put out some thoughts any chance I can. Thanks again for watching. Till next time, Nightwatch N8, signing out.
It may like to gamble, it may like to dance, it may be the heavyweight champion of the world, it may be a socialite with a long string of pearls, but you'll have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, serve somebody. Stage. Murder drugs in your pocket, women in a cage. You may be some businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor, they may call you chief, but you'll have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, serve somebody. Working on a home, maybe living in a mansion. future with a spiritual pride. You may be working as a dishwasher